She stood at the edge of my driveway, shaking her head like she owned the street. "You can't live here," she yelled, her voice echoing across the quiet cul-de-sac. I had just finished unloading the last box from my truck, thinking I was finally done with the chaos of moving. But then, there she was, Karen. The self-proclaimed queen of the HOA next door. The problem: my house wasn't even part of her HOA. I tried to stay calm. "Ma'am, this property isn't under your HOA. I checked with the county." I even held up the paperwork. She squinted at me, took a step closer, and with a smirk said, "We'll see about that." Then she slapped a printed notice of violation on my front door like she was serving justice. It looked official, except it had no logo, no signature, just her handwritten name in bold letters, Karen, HOA President. I laughed a little, thinking she was bluffing. "You know that's fake, right?" I said. Her face turned red, her eyes wide. "Fake? You're trespassing on HOA territory. You people think you can just move in anywhere." The way she said "you people" made something inside me tighten, but I bit my tongue. I didn't want trouble. Not yet. That night, I heard noises outside, someone dragging something near my fence. I stepped out with my flashlight and saw Karen hammering a sign into my yard: HOA property, no trespassing. She didn't even flinch when I pointed the light at her. "This land belongs to the community," she hissed, "and if you don't leave, I'll have you removed." The next morning, my mailbox was gone. Literally gone, ripped out from the ground. A bright orange note taped to the post read, "Unauthorized mailbox. Remove immediately or face fines." I couldn't believe it. She had crossed from annoying to insane overnight. But what she didn't know was that I wasn't just some random homeowner. I'd worked for years in land management, specifically with property disputes. I'd handled hundreds of cases like this. I knew exactly what she was doing, and how to end it. Still, before I could act, Karen struck again. This time, she came to my door with two men in uniforms, fake police badges hanging from their shirts. "You're under investigation for illegal property occupation," one of them said. Karen folded her arms, smiling like she'd already won. That's when I knew she wasn't just being nosy. She was running a scam. And she had no idea who she was messing with. Viral line: she thought I was a trespasser on my own land, but she just walked straight into a trap. Karen's voice trembled as the real officers cuffed her hands behind her back. "This is a mistake. He's the trespasser," she kept shouting, but the body cam footage told the truth. The fake cops she'd brought were already being questioned in separate patrol cars, both of them quiet now, realizing she'd thrown them under the bus. I stood by my fence, watching as the flashing red and blue lights painted her face pale. For the first time, she looked small, powerless. One of the officers handed me a clipboard. "Sir, we reviewed the property documents you sent earlier. Everything checks out. This land has never been part of her HOA. You're good." I nodded, feeling that weight finally start to lift. "Thanks, officer," I said. "I just wanted to live peacefully." Karen turned her head toward me, her voice breaking. "You set me up," she cried. I met her eyes and said quietly, "No, Karen. You set yourself up." Later that evening, I sat on my porch with a cup of coffee, watching the tow truck haul away her car, apparently registered under a fake name. She'd been using her HOA authority to scam neighbors into paying fines that didn't exist. The cops found printed forms, fake notices, even forged county seals in her garage. As the sun dipped, behind the trees, my neighbor, an older veteran named Hank, walked over. "Heard what happened," he said with a grin. "You really turned the tables on her." I chuckled. "I didn't fight for this land," I said, looking out at my house, "just to be told I don't belong on it." And for the first time since I'd moved in, the street was quiet. No shouting, no fake notices, no Karen lurking by the fence. Just peace, the kind that comes when truth finally wins. Viral line: she tried to steal my home with lies, but justice signed the eviction notice for her. Karen's scream echoed across the street as the county officer unfolded the papers I'd handed him. Her fake HOA notice fluttered to the ground, and for a second, she froze, like she finally realized she'd gone too far. "This is official," I said calmly. "Your HOA line ends 2 streets back. You've got no authority here." But instead of backing down, she doubled down. "You think I care what some paper says?" she shouted, pointing a trembling finger at me. This entire neighborhood follows my rules. Her voice cracked, her pride fighting her fear. I could see her hands shaking, but it wasn't guilt, it was rage. Just then, a black SUV rolled up. Karen smiled like she'd called backup. Two men stepped out, wearing dark shirts with badges that didn't quite look real. "Ma'am," one of them said to me, "we need to verify your ownership. Step away from the property." I didn't move. "You can ask the sheriff's office yourself," I said, sliding my phone from my pocket. "Because that badge you're wearing isn't real, and the real sheriff is already on his way." The men looked at each other, suddenly uneasy. Karen tried to keep the act going. "Don't listen to him. He's squatting here. Arrest him now," she screamed, but her voice cracked under pressure. I tapped my screen and showed them the live security feed from my front porch camera, every moment she'd trespassed, every fake notice she'd posted, every word she'd said. "You're done, Karen," I said quietly. "You just committed trespassing, fraud, and impersonation, all on camera." Before she could answer, real sirens wailed down the road. Her face went pale. The fake cops backed off fast, muttering something about miscommunication, but it was too late. The sheriff's car stopped right behind them, lights flashing bright across her lawn. As the officers stepped out, Karen stumbled back, whispering, "This isn't happening, this can't be happening." Viral line, she brought fake cops to arrest me, but the real ones came for her. The next morning, everything felt off. My trash cans were gone, my fence gate was wide open, and my driveway was blocked by a car I didn't recognize, Karen's. She was standing there in her robe, sipping coffee like she owned the place. "You're lucky I'm letting you stay here until this is sorted," she said casually, leaning against my truck. I walked up slowly. "Letting me stay," I repeated, trying not to laugh. "Karen, this is my property." She smiled that fake sweet smile. "Not for long. The HOA voted to reclaim it. It's community land now." I blinked. "You can't vote to take someone's private property." "Oh, we can," she said. "I'm moving in today." And she meant it. She had boxes stacked on the curb. She had literally brought furniture, claiming she was reclaiming HOA space. When I told her to leave, she called the police right in front of me. "Hello, officer. Yes, there's a man refusing to vacate HOA property. He's aggressive. Aggressive." I hadn't even raised my voice. But when the cops arrived, I didn't argue. I showed them the county plat map, the deed, the HOA boundary records, everything. The officer frowned, glancing between us. "Ma'am, this address isn't under your HOA jurisdiction." Karen's face twitched. "That can't be right. I've been president here for 12 years. Of the next neighborhood over," the cop said. "This house is outside your control." For a moment, she was silent. Then, with a shaky laugh, she said, "Well, the system must be wrong. I'll handle this myself." And before I could stop her, she stormed off toward her house, her phone already in hand, calling someone. That night, I caught her sneaking around again, whispering to two men beside a van parked without plates. I recorded every second. I didn't know what she was planning, but one thing was clear, she wasn't finished. Viral line, she didn't just cross the line, she moved her furniture over it. A week later, the street looked peaceful again, too peaceful. Karen's house sat dark, blinds shut tight, her once proud HOA President sign gone from the lawn. Word spread fast after her arrest. The sheriff's office confirmed she'd been running fake HOA scams across multiple neighborhoods, collecting fines and fees from terrified homeowners. Everyone in the community was stunned. The woman who barked about rules had been breaking every one of them. I stood on my porch, sipping coffee, as a few neighbors stopped by. "Can't believe it," one of them said. "She really thought she could control everyone." I nodded. "Some people mistake power for purpose," I said quietly. Later that afternoon, a county officer came by to thank me for the footage. "If you hadn't caught it on camera, she might have gotten away again," he said. I smiled faintly. Sometimes the best defense is proof. That evening, I walked to the edge of my property and looked at the new sign I'd put up. Not a warning, just a statement. Private land, owned, earned, protected. For the first time since I'd moved in, the air felt lighter. The neighborhood finally had peace. No more fake rules, no more drama, just people minding their own business. And somewhere deep down, I hoped Karen learned something behind those bars. Because in the end, justice wasn't just about proving her wrong, it was about showing everyone that no one, not even an HOA queen, can rewrite the truth. Viral line: she tried to own my home with fake authority, but the law reminded her who really owned the land.